CoinDesk journalists won a George Polk Award for the scoop that led to Sam Bankman-Fried's $32 billion cryptocurrency empire collapsing in days, and for two explosive follow-up stories. CoinDesk senior reporter Allison and CoinDesk deputy managing editor of finance and deals Tracy Wang won the prize for financial reporting. They join us now. Tracy and Ian, congratulations. Ian, let's start off with you. So this all started back in November with your scoop that Sam Bankman-Fried's closely held trading firm, Alameda Research, was on shakier grounds on a financial footing perspective than was generally known, and that the lines between Alameda Research and FTX were quite blurred. The number one question I get from folks is how you came to get your hands on the balance sheet of Alameda Research. And I know you went on other podcasts, but tell our audience how you got that.
Hi. I was talking to a contact of mine, and he mentioned that the balance sheet was weaker than a lot of people assume, and that they were using the FTT token as collateral. And then really, because I had those specific questions to ask, I just went around and asked, like a lot of people. It's sort of like, the Winston Churchill School of Journalism, just keep banging away. And eventually someone, basically shared that document with me. I think I was saying there was 20 billion at the start of the year, this last year, and this person pointed out, no, it was never that much, and that's how he came to share that document. Yeah.
Did you realize how explosive it would be, or when you read the document, how this would have potentially had a effect of where we are today in the collapse of FTX?
No, not really. I'd got hold of their audited financial statements for 2021. So when I got the document, the first thing I thought was, oh, this is more up to date. So that's good, and that'll be a scoop. But I didn't really, then I sort of started looking at it, and I was like, God, it's full of, their own token that they made. So yeah, but the answer is no, not really.
So Tracy, you had a piece that on the sort of weird relationships going on between FTX and Alameda, and it just sort of like, I don't know, it just seems like it was college 2.0 for them or something. How did you come across that, all that stuff? And, I mean, the way you presented it wasn't obviously, the more salacious details or how it could have, if it were, let's say, page 6 of the Post, but it nonetheless had real effects on a lot of the account holders and things like that. So can you explain what was going on there?
Yeah, I think, with all of these types of stories, there is the financial element, which Ian and the balance sheet really kind of shed a light on. And what makes this whole entire FTX story super interesting is also kind of like the interpersonal relationships between Sam and his inner circle that really, I think, makes this story worthy of, there's going to be a Michael Lewis. So, I felt like this was a story that needed to be told with, everybody's question after learning that, FTX was in really big trouble was kind of, who knew about this? And I think that really looking into who is in charge at FTX, who Sam Bankman-Fried surrounds himself, even who he might have dated at one point, which, was Allison, the co-CEO of Alameda Research.
How'd you find that out?
This was actually well known in within his little circle in the Bahamas, and so speaking to sources that were able to confirm that relationship, that really kind of also not only does it add a little bit of page 6 flair, I think it really speaks to kind of how he ran his empire.
Tracy, did you get any pushback for this piece or just any resistance? I mean, I think there's been a bit of shift in crypto journalism because in the past, if you wrote anything sort of like critical or explosive, you'd get a lot of, a lot of heat for it on crypto Twitter. But in this case, it seems like most people are pretty supportive of this kind of reporting.
I guess, if you're a journalist, you should be comfortable with writing things that are explosive. And so once we have, the information and I, was able to verify the information through a bunch of sources, I think I didn't really think about what the pushback would be.
No, I'm just asking if you got pushback, not if you were worried about pushback.
Pushback, I really don't think so. I didn't expect that this piece would actually, I was a little bit disappointed in some of the headlines that followed that would, refer to Caroline Ellison as the ex-girlfriend rather than the CEO of Alameda Research. I do think that some of the, it kind of, the page 6 element kind of overshadowed some of the other points that the story was bringing to light.
Well, I think there were even questions at CoinDesk whether or not to publish a story like this because in the end it was newsworthy because of the nepotism that came out of these kind of interpersonal relationships. I mean, it has relevance to how a company is run. Ian, and I just want to, go over, you had a second Polk winning scoop when Binance got cold feet about scrapping an FTX takeover. I wonder how you learned about that.
Yeah, I was down at a conference in London. It was it was just a mad week because the story was breaking. It was gathering momentum, and then Binance were saying they were going to buy FTX, and I had a kind of a pal there. So I was speaking to them, and they were just they said, look, we've had a look at their books. There's no way we're going to buy them. We're not going to buy this company. And so we published that. I was at this conference. It was really, that was kind of explosive because you could sort of sense the expectation people had, and then, that wasn't going to happen. So yeah, that was like a sort of detonation